Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Surviving UX podcast. Hey, Meg, how's it going?
Hey, Jessamine, it's going good. I have
Good.
something to fess up though about. I
Ooh.
remembered that a couple months ago, like, I don't know, maybe half a year ago, I was talking about how great I was getting at slotting in particular tasks to my new schedule, which is a lot of like hurry up and wait or like short wait times that I like never know how long they're going to be. Like waiting for medical professionals and stuff like that, or like things to start. And I was getting
Mm-hmm.
so good at finding like small tasks or tasks that could be started and stopped.
Mm-hmm.
Now, unfortunately, my little hack doesn't work for me anymore because
Oh.
I've manipulated it. Like I've manipulated the task to serve my own ends of procrastination, which means
Mm-hmm.
now I make a list of all the things I need to do. And I say, oh, I can just do that while I'm at the doctor's office, or I can do that while I'm like in between these things and this thing. And then I slot them in, even though I could do them like right now. And then, and
Mm-hmm.
then when I'm there, I just sit and go on Instagram. So
Yes.
nothing's getting done anymore is
Right.
basically
Right.
the scenario. So that hack,
Uh-huh.
and it just makes me think like, do hacks ever really work forever? Like, or are they
Yeah.
just hacks until you figure out another hack to hack the thing that no longer works?
I think there is no greater misery than multitasking. I think that if I ever try to multitask, I hate my life and I can't do it. And I think pumping is the one thing where if I try to get work done while I'm pumping, I want to die. So I just I can't
Mhm.
multitask anymore. And yeah. And I feel like it's time to be unapologetic when you need like downtime
Mhm.
and you need to stare off into space or watch ridiculous videos or whatever it is, like
Mhm.
just do it because you just need to be like a human sometimes. We're
or
not
or
robots. Yeah.
or just like a zoned out human.
Yes. Just zone out. I mean, I
Yeah.
watch my kids and they just stare off into space and wander around in loops around the living room and they just when you watch kids who are not productive and don't even think that they should be,
Yeah.
don't have guilt about it, you're like, we're not really wired to be workers all the time. Like we're
Yeah.
wired to relax sometimes. It's totally,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, well,
How are you?
I I speaking of being wired to work, I have had a week. I will say this. We did like kind of get some news, not me personally, but friends in the business did get they have had some layoffs in the industry again this week.
Mhm.
And so our hearts definitely go out to people who were affected. I think I did hear, I think someone said, maybe you said this, that some people were notified by email that they had been laid off. And I just feel like that's a new low,
Mm.
that they couldn't be bothered to have conversations with people, that they just received emails. I literally can't imagine that feeling
I've
of
never
getting an
heard of that
email.
happening. Yeah. Like I've always heard of it being I mean awful, equally awful things being told in person, but like being all gathered in a room with like
Mm-hmm.
no windows and no
Mm-hmm.
doors, and then all the people in that
Mm-hmm.
room were affected. But yeah, yeah, I've never heard of doing it by email before.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I think that's wild, and I really feel for folks who are going through that situation. It just feels like it's like the rough times are continuing, and like this industry that was just so red hot for
Hmm.
so long is now like really getting impacted. And I wonder what people are doing who were designers and then have thought, maybe this isn't viable for me. Maybe something else needs to be my skill set instead. So, very curious. It is amazing what we will do to bend over backwards to, stay in a job or keep a job or sort of stay in a career. I myself have been commuting quite a bit because of our
Yep.
new return to office mandate, and I found myself sleeping on a floor on a foam pad this week.
On the train?
Staying No, this was in my sister's basement.
Oh,
She is
to be
kind
near the
enough to
office.
extend her guest room to me and my family, and we went up this week, and we needed some space to spread out, and so I volunteered myself to sleep on the floor one night and was reminded that I am way too old for
Mm-hmm.
that and that I cannot do that kind of thing anymore. And it was not comfortable. So I did not do that again. But, we were sleeping on the couch, sleeping on the floor, and trying to make ourselves comfortable. And it was a lot. It was a
Yeah.
lot. And I asked myself sometimes, like, how far will I bend? How far will I go?
Yeah. Well, your
So
back's not going
it
to
can
bend
be
much farther if you're sleeping on the floor.
I tell you, it
Yeah.
was it was it was humbling. So, anyway, I this week, you guys, we actually have a really special guest. I'm really excited to bring him on today. He is a Texan. We met at the UXPA conference in Austin, Texas in June. Our guest is a UX professional with a decade of human factors and UX design experience. He served as director of UX at Ipsos, senior UX architect at AT&T, UX specialist at Aspen Technology, and he is an open water swimmer. Please welcome to the show Tim Duffield.
Welcome, Tim.
Howdy, y'all. Thanks for having me.
You're
I have to
very
say,
a
Nice.
very Texan
there you
greeting.
go. I have to start with the Texan howdy.
Are you from Texas originally?
I was
Like,
born in Illinois and then
mm,
grew up a bit in Nebraska, but this is where I call home. I always come back here. I was pretty young when we moved down here.
got it, got it.
Mhm.
Awesome. So Tim, tell us about yourself a little bit. Like, obviously, you're in UX, you've been in this game for a while. But what's going on with your career right now?
Let's see. My current situation was that um, I guess, upheaval and then renewal is probably
Mhm.
the right theme. I was
Mm-hmm,
laid off in mid March, and despite the number of applications that I've sent, that doesn't actually seem to get much of a response these days.
oof.
Mhm.
The I think that when I was doing my counts earlier, I was doing at least five a day,
Mhm.
and then just quit because it's not worth a whole lot of my time
Mm-hmm,
to
Mhm.
sit and find quality job postings and submit them only to hear nothing or get canned responses, or
mm-hmm.
um
Mhm.
you know it doesn't seem to turn any result, especially when I'm seeing a lot of times when I finally get to a good job posting or any job posting, it'll have 250, 300 applicants that I can already see that have already applied on LinkedIn or somewhere else. So
That I have to say that feature, whoever dreamed that up, I don't know why they put that on there. I think that is such a bad idea because it dissuades people. If they see a number like 15 people or 500 people have applied for this job, then
Mm-hmm.
they're going to be like, why should I apply? I'm not going to, rise to the top of a pool of 500 candidates. I don't understand why they would do that. It seems like who's benefiting
I
from
wonder
that
if the
number?
company benefits, more than the applicants.
mhm.
I don't know. What's your thought on that, Tim?
um, who stands to benefit? Well, I'm trying to gain the best use of my time,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
as I kind of straddle the idea that, one, I need to be applying to as many and most likely places where I will get a paying gig, because that's my number one. Paying anything paying right now is awesome. I will
Mm-hmm.
take that. And then two, um, if I can spare some of that time to then go out and freelance and market my own services on the free market, and make a name for myself that way, I've been trying to do that as well. But I've never had to freelance before, so that's kind of a new game for me and learning the ins and outs of that. And it's been a lot of fun, really. But the whole application game, completely different from what I'm used to.
Hmm.
The response rate is down. I wonder sometimes if these job postings are real.
Yeah.
Mm.
Is there
And
Wow.
someone
we,
out there?
yeah, and we talked to somebody a couple months ago who was in recruiting, and those jobs have also been super affected. And so you kind of wonder, like, is it, is the job posting like you said, put out there and they really don't have anybody to kind of like field any of the responses or do it in a way that with some sense of humanity. I
Mhm.
think that could play a lot in it too, is like maybe they do have job positions but they don't have any staff to really fill them anymore.
Right.
um yeah, so what's the biggest thing that you wish you knew when you have started to do these freelance things? Like, is there anything that you are like, oh, I wish I had known that, 6 weeks ago, or 12 weeks ago, or something like that?
I guess that what it is that you have to realize is that you're a team of one now, and
Mm,
how to scale your process down
Mhm.
to the amount of time that it takes for one person to do a particular thing.
mhm,
That takes some learning. Um, so I think that if you exist in the space for a long enough time, then you'll have templates and things that you reuse, much like when we think of designers that
mhm,
free up the runway by creating design systems, or researchers that have their own templates, and then they fill it out that way. So I've had
Mhm.
to create what that means for me solo,
mhm.
and
Yeah.
then figure out, does this meet my client's needs? So that's still a work in progress, and probably will
Mhm.
continue to be.
Design ops for
Gosh.
one. I've
Yep.
never really thought about it that way.
Yep.
That's kind of neat though, because, if you are freelancing a lot, I mean, wonder if you can kind of reuse. I don't know. Tell us more about what your freelancing experience has been like since you've been doing this. I mean, it sounds like you were in-house for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and now
Right.
you're kind of doing these gigs. What's that been like?
Well, no one, at least as far as the people that I've spoken to, are going out in search of a UX professional. Um, a lot of people have a very interesting notion of what user experience is. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure that between the three of us, that we could have a long debate on semantics about what is UX.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like one of those questions, like what is art? And then
Mm,
I had someone tell me the other day on an interview, I know that there's a lot of different definitions of design and what that means. It's like, but is there really? Are we, do these words mean something anymore? I don't know. What I mean by design is creating something with purpose in the most general sense. And user experiences, I mean, it's everything. It's the complete total summation of value that um, a customer or someone using a product derives from their interactions with a company, its products and services, and that's widespread and
That
probably
mhm,
has lost a lot of that. But the whole UI is synonymous with UX
mhm,
debate that happened on LinkedIn. I think it's probably still occurring. I'm sure it will still continue to occur.
mhm.
User interface is UX. I think that's
Mhm.
pretty silly and funny. But
Yeah, I think your description is very lovely and comprehensive. Are you saying that these freelance opportunities, are you having to kind of educate the folks asking for work about what you do or what they are actually looking for?
well, what I've had to kind of discover for myself is the art of, starting from square one in
Mhm.
sales. What can I do for you today? What is on your mind today?
Mm,
And
Mhm,
listening to people's stories, for free, to speak with someone one on one,
mhm,
to get their attention and say, hey, how can I help you today? Or what's on your mind today? What have you been working on? Oh,
mhm,
I know a little bit about this and that. I can probably figure that out as I go.
mhm, mhm.
So I mean, those types of positions might not have resembled that anything maybe that I've done professionally in the past, but because of other interests or my experience with uh, web design or some moderate coding or automation work or integration work or things like that. That's kind of see where I see opportunity right now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Gosh. I think, one of the things that you've touched on that for me, like strikes fear in my heart is sort of that endless work of seeing something that looks interesting or looks worthy, taking the time to apply and maybe even interview, and then having it not work out,
Mm-hmm.
for either you don't hear anything back or you do hear something back and you actually go through interviews and then it doesn't work out. I mean, there really isn't anything that I think is worse than
Mm-hmm.
that process. And it's exhausting and it's draining. I don't think anybody looks forward to it or likes it. And I think that fear
No.
keeps a lot of us in line.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
what what
One
do you
one
do?
idea I
Oh yeah,
had,
go ahead.
sorry, what one thought I had is like how much severance would be enough severance
Mm-hmm.
to be like to feel like it's compensation for having to deal with the job market and the way in which we apply and get hired. And what, like what is that amount? Like $1 million? Yep, I'd do it. But like
Mm.
is what severance that is being offered like compensating for just the agony of this process.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it's just a thought provoking question. But Jasmine,
Oof.
what question were you
I
going to
guess
ask?
no, Tim, but I mean, you seem super even keeled, to be honest, like way smoother than I think I would be. And I want to hear from you, as someone who's gone through this stuff, what is your coping mechanism? How do you like deal with the pressure? How do you summon up the energy to have yet another conversation with someone, knowing that it could be a hit or a miss? I mean, where does the energy come from? Like, what's the well within?
I think, like with most things, large projects, things that I know that are going to take time, um, it's more about the process rather than the destination. And don't get me wrong, I may sound even keeled, but there's obviously worries that keep me up at night. Well, how am I going to get food on the table and pay the bills? I just got married. We had lots of bills for a wedding that we paid
Mm,
for. I have my whole life. I want to start a family.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of on pause until we can figure the money thing out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my my wife is had just started her own business and she's doing very well as running her own private practice. Um, and we talk a lot. It's also helpful that she's a licensed mental health professional, so we have lots of discussions about how it is where it is that we're at and how it
Yeah.
is that we're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a struggle for me sometime, but she knows how to bring it out.
I
well, I
think you
think
married the
that,
right person.
Yeah,
right, I
for
guess
sure.
like the answer is to have a mental health professional in your
Uh,
home.
Yeah, there you go.
I will sign
live
up for
in.
that, please.
Yes. I mean, I think that's really I think this is going to speak to a lot of us because even those of us who are employed, right? This is very real. Like this risk is very real, and I do feel like employers are using that to their advantage right now to make demands
Mhm.
of their employees to lower offers. I've read articles recently talking about starting salary offers are down
Oh
across the
yeah.
board. Jobs that were going for, one salary a year ago are now going for another one. And I wonder if things like design exercises and things like that are going to start creeping in. Has that been your experience? Have you been asked to do anything like that?
Oh yeah. I mean, the rates that I was charging before didn't resemble what I saw as far as contract positions that were being offered when I was first laid off in March, and I've seen them decline uh, by what percent? Probably at least 30%.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
They've gone down for the same equivalent position. So it 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 makes me wonder, do I continue to seek these contract roles, and how much of this is being cut out by these uh, I don't know. I don't know exactly who is getting the better end of that deal. Obviously, the company
Mm-hmm.
is getting what they want. Is there more being funneled off to these small talent recruiting firms, or um, I'm not sure. You'll have to ask.
Mm.
So are you, when you're going for, I'm assuming not for the contract positions, they're not asking you to do design exercises beforehand, are they?
The recruiters from the contractors are not usually
Okay,
asking
yeah.
for
But for the
design
full-time
exercise.
positions,
No.
are you doing design exercises, or has it been your experience that those have come up as part of the job hiring process?
I have encountered at least two or three,
Hmm.
and I just recently did one, and it was kind of a long shot to begin with. And the guy initially, I didn't think that he was going to reach out, so I kind of went through and I found, you know, a list of people that worked at the company. I knew it was small, and I
Hmm.
asked them one at a time, "Hey, who posted this?"
Hmm.
Until I finally found someone that would uh, tell me who it was.
Wow.
And
Mm-hmm.
they gave me a name, and I sent an email, and he was like, "That's very clever that you figured out who I am." I was like, "Sorry, but
Mm.
that's how I get people's attention. Hi, how are you?"
Yeah.
Um, and then
He didn't think
from
your
there,
cleverness was a good thing?
no, he thought it was great.
Oh,
Um,
good, good, good.
yeah, it
Okay.
was just me apologizing. I was hoping that he wouldn't. Um,
So you were trying to get around the recruiter basically and just get straight to the source, or you were just trying to, you saw an opening and
oh, I
you were
saw an
trying to
opening.
okay, okay.
Yeah, I wasn't. I'm not trying to step around a recruiter, and because that's their contract that they've earned.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to take food out of someone else's mouth. Rather, if something is advertised as a direct hire and I'm trying to talk to the hiring manager, but it's not
Mm-hmm.
listed directly on the job posting, I mean, there are
Yeah.
tactics, there are ways. I
Hmm.
have more, but they're my
Ooh.
secret.
I think you should write about this, honestly.
Yeah.
But
Or sell, or I guess
yeah,
you couldn't
sell
sell
them.
your secrets, but yeah.
Sell my secrets.
Um,
Gosh.
so you were doing a design exercise for that particular
Mm-hmm.
organization.
Sure. And it was for a product manager position. Um, I've never served as a product manager in that title. However, I've been reading a lot about the similarities between the two roles, but also the differences, very strong
Hmm.
differences, and thought maybe this could be, another opportunity for me. I think of myself as, user experience. When I found this thing, I thought it was a miracle that this subject ever existed, that I could do this professionally, and I
Hmm.
want to continue doing it. I don't think that I would ever give it up, but um, I'm trying to put food on the table. I'll code a website.
Hmm.
I'll write a system process automation code. I'll do shell scripts. I will design little tiny bitmaps 8 by 8 to your heart's desire, whatever it
Hmm.
is that you need. So,
That's
I
impressive.
Yeah,
yep.
very, very much so is. I just happened to come across a product that I was using this week from a company that I applied to 3 years ago. And I sat and I was like, I'm still kind of mad that they made me do that whole design exercise
Mhm.
and
Mm.
then just got, thank you, but no thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was 3 years ago, you guys.
Oh,
Like,
I have the exact same. I did three design exercises, I think, for different jobs when I was job hunting, and I didn't get any offers, from any of them.
mhm,
And I just think, my God, I spent like 10 to 20 hours on these. I did interviews,
Mhm.
mhm.
feedback, iteration, graphic
Yeah.
design,
It makes me think
research. Oh,
what kind of a job seeking experience is actually worth it. Obviously the one that you get is worth it. But like if we had to if we had to come up with a job seeking experience that doesn't isn't terrible, like what would it but is reasonable? What would it include? What do you like what would you say, Tim? Like like what would you like to go through in this process?
Right. Well, let's see, with the design exercise thing, I what I usually do and I don't know if I've ever had a job that I've actually gotten where I've earned it by doing a design exercise or
Right.
anything. So I'm probably not the person to ask of how to win these things. But I, I, I set it in time that I'm only going to spend this amount of time doing this thing. And despite where it's at in this, they should be able to see my process and where it's going and how it
Mm-hmm.
is that I do it. I said, this is the amount of time that I've spent on this. So there it is. So I bind it in some sort of a time requirement, say a half a day's work, 4 hours. And that way I don't have to feel like, oh, I spent days on this.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's smart. That's
Yeah.
smart.
It doesn't feel like such
Gosh.
a sunk loss.
Mm-hmm. That's good. I'm curious, one of my greatest fears is working on my own portfolio, and I still to this day like struggle with the idea of sitting down and putting together, a PDF of a portfolio presentation. It makes me want to throw up in my mouth, and
Oh yeah.
I need to get over this fear, frankly. What would you say to me and people like me who, clearly if you're in the process of applying and interviewing, you've already pushed through and you've done it, right? Like what what would you say to me, and what like have you learned kind of doing it for yourself and putting yourself out there?
Right. So a portfolio of my work. That's interesting that you asked that. I think that my webpage right now is 403 error. Because I have it down. I have a new format and I've been practicing my web design skills and trying to see that through. Uh, but what can I say to that? Um,
Does it,
man,
I mean, was it hard for you to put together a
oh,
portfolio
for
or to show
sure.
up? Yeah. I mean,
Yes, absolutely. Um, Growing up, I don't think that I was ever taught to brag or speak in a way that's like, I'm the best at this. Let me
yeah.
show you how I do this the best, better than
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
anyone. And that language to me feels very foreign.
Yeah.
Um, so creating a portfolio of work, obviously you're trying to create something uh, that speaks mainly to the process of what it is that you were trying to set out to do and what your role was in that particular project, even if it wasn't wholly yours, but own your particular perspective and what you did and what that did for, as a result. What was the result of that? Um, and how can you do that for other people?
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
How, like, have you ever been on the other side of the table or the other side of the screen evaluating someone
Oh
else?
yeah, yeah, definitely. And I can see that they've really thought through their work whenever I talk to them. Usually, it's mainly about the conversation that occurs sitting at the table. Um, I I I don't judge portfolios directly on their face value. If I was in that seat in that position, but that's me. I know that maybe there are people that are very design focused that think about aesthetics of the design work and how that is. But from my seat, I've seen the different brandings and aesthetics of a number of different large organizations and companies and understand that brand varies widely
Hmm.
and that to see like a unified aesthetic of my work, that would be, I mean, you'd have to be, a designer's designer to have, really great visuals like that to
Hmm.
really stand out. So uh trying to tell the story, though, that's its own thing. It takes writing and a good narrative of how it is that you, the main protagonist of your own story, has seized the day and came out victorious.
About the dragons, about the
Yeah,
business dragons.
exactly.
Oh, thank goodness. Well, Tim, thank you so much for chatting with us about all these topics, about the hard road and the stuff you have experienced out there and over the last couple of months. It's definitely an interesting time for UX.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
And
Well, yeah.
feel free to follow me or check out my own portfolio at tduffield.com, or I will be advertising my professional services at setoutsimple.io. And I'll give you guys some links once I have those web pages up so that you can attach it to your
Awesome.
podcast. And I want to thank you very much for your time.
Well, Tim, I
Yeah.
have to circle back though to the open water swimming thing,
Oh,
and
sure.
because I'm familiar with a couple folks that do open water swimming. Is there anything that you would say that open water swimming and UX have in common?
Open water. Oh, wow. So open water swimming, I did not know anything about open water swimming when I got into open water swimming. I was signed up for an event. It was a charitable cause. I've only ever done it one time, and it was absolutely frightening. Being out in open water, tired.
Mm-hmm.
I'm used to having a wall of a pool that I can grab a hold of or something. Luckily, there were people in kayaks watching us
Mm-hmm.
and letting us rest when we needed to. But I wasn't used to, say, when you do a forward crawl and you have to put your face down underwater. Well, after a
Uh-huh.
while, if there's any sort of waves or anything, keeping your breath during that amount of exercise is the most difficult thing. That takes practice. And
Wow.
so, if it's anything like UX, I would say practice. There's going to be a lot of fear and thoughts of, why am I doing this in the first place? I'm out in the middle of this open water. I hope I don't drown.
Oh
But
my God.
we did get through it. I turned on my back and I did every bear crawl, dog paddle, backwards stroke that I could figure out to just stay afloat, and I
Wow.
wound up at the finish line at the end.
Oh,
That's absolutely impressive, and thank you so much for sharing that story because it's very I just yeah, I can as you were describing that, I was like, yeah, sometimes it is really fearful to be
oh
dropped
my
into these
gosh.
projects, to be waiting with people you waiting like WADE with people you don't know kicking in your face,
Mm.
and that kind of stuff. So thank you so much,
Oh,
Tim. I really really appreciate your time and your stories.
wow. Yeah. Tim, that was amazing. Folks, if you need any advice or just sympathy for your UX career, write to us at survivingux@gmail.com. Thanks. Bye bye. Surviving UX is hosted and edited by Jessamine Edwards and Meg Kramer. Our theme music is, among other things, the on-hold music for Cisco phones, Opus Number 1, by Tim Carlton and Derek Deal. See you next time!